Photoshop is a great tool and resource, but there are so many buttons. The more you use it, the easier it gets. Hey there, I'm Danielle, a web and graphic designer teaching you tech tips and tutorials to help you stand out from the crowd. So when Photoshop first opens, there's going to be a couple buttons here that are for you to click on. There's going to be a little dashboard here of all of your projects that you've recently opened. So if you want to continue working on something, you can just click right there and it'll open it up. If you click on open, you can navigate to a folder where something's at and just open that up. Or you can click create new. So if you click on create new, it's going to open up a box. And it's going to have some presets, some sizes for you to pick on. And one fun thing is you can give this a name. So say you wanted to, you can name that whatever you'd like and click on this button and it will save it as a preset. So over here, if you click on saved, I've got Instagram size, Pinterest, Twitter posts. So I have some presets for the social medias. Generally, this 72 ppi is for web, and anything that's going to be printed is this 300 ppi, pixels per inch. So we're going to, and these custom ones are all just sizes that you've set. So you can click over here and start from something, and if you want to change it, you can make a custom setting here. So you can set your width, your height, you can set it in inches and pixels, you can change it from horizontal to vertical, and you can also change that resolution. So if you want to do something for web or for print, you have that choice there. So we'll click create, and it's opened up this new document here. First thing to cover is how to save. Pretty easy. File, save as, and this is going to be your keyboard shortcut. So you'll click on save as, and then you can name your document. It's going to save the first time in a .psd, which is only a Photoshop document. And I'll get into that later, why that's different than, say, an image. If you want to save it in a different way, just hit File, Save As, and then you can change that to a JPEG or a PNG, whatever you'd like it to, whatever form you'd like it to be. So once you save it, it's going to tell you what the file extension is. So if you hit Control S on a Windows computer, and you'll know what that is for a Mac right over here. You can hit Control S to just quickly keyboard shortcut save, so you're not going to File, Save every time. And it'll tell you what that file type is. So if you're going to be saving on that Photoshop document, it'll tell you it's a PSD right here. If it's your PNG that you're working on, it's going to show you .png. Another cool thing that Photoshop does, which whenever I have, especially with Pinterest on images that are really graphics intensive, there's a lot going on. You can hit File, Export, Save for Web. And what this does is opens up it's like a built-in kind of compression, and you can change the quality here. I usually keep this on high right here, and I leave it as JPEG because it's just going up online. One thing to note is the lower the quality you pick, the lower the level here you pick, the lower the quality is. So if you want a lot of compression, it's not going to be the best quality. If you want really high quality, it's not going to be able to be compressed as much. And the file type, and you can save, and then it'll kind of compress that file size right away for you a little bit. So this up here is going to be your menu bar. your options bar is going to be right down below it, and this is going to change for each tool that you use. And this is your tool strip here. So you click on a different tool, and your options here up on the options bar will change. Over here is a couple different things. There's colors and swatches. The main thing you're going to be using over here is the Layers tab. The Layers tab is going to be where you'll work most when you're creating elements. You're going to be moving between them. And one thing to note is each item, and don't worry, there's a lot going on here. But each item has its own layer. So the Layers tab is essentially like a sandwich. So each item should be in its own layer so that you can move or edit just that item and not have to undo your work or redo it. To hide or show a specific layer, you can click on this little box with the eye. If you see the eye, it's showing, and if there's no eye, it's hidden. Also note that the layers are going to be from top down to the bottom. So this is the very back layer, and this is the very top layer. Right up here. So if you want something to be above something else, you can just click and drag a layer and move it around. And you should always save anything that you're working on in a PSD, because only the PSD will save these layers. If you save it in a JPEG or a PNG, you cannot go back and edit those layers. You have to redo the whole image to edit one thing. If you want to add another layer, say you want to work on a special layer, start something new, you can click this button right here and it'll add a new layer for you. The next thing is zooming. But let me go ahead and get some text on here just to have something in the layers on the image to look at. Okay, so now we've got a couple things in our layers just to look at them. And to show you what I mean by layers, this one right here is that pink shade on the background, and this is the actual text on the image. So if I move them, you can see that the pink is now above those words. Move them back. And each item is its own layer. So I can change just that background if I wanted without having to touch that font on there. So the first thing is zooming. If you want to zoom in on something, this little spyglass looking icon, or the Z key, will let you zoom in. There's a couple buttons up here. 100%, this is at the full size of it. If you hit fit screen, it's going to fit vertically, and fill screen is going to fit horizontally, so you can zoom in. My favorite way to zoom, though, is if you hold down your mouse button and click and drag, you can zoom in, and you can push the mouse away from you and it'll zoom out. So you drag towards yourself to zoom in, drag away to zoom out, and that's my favorite way to zoom. The next thing is moving around, or the V tool. So the first thing to do is make sure that you have the layer selected that you're wanting to move, and then you can click on that item and just hold and drag it around to move. To add text, you can either hit T or click right over here on the T icon. And when you add text, it gets added in its own individual layer. So it's a separate layer completely from everything else. There's two ways to add text. You can click and just start typing and it will add text away. You can just type away, or you can click and drag to add a text box. And the difference between the two, the text box gives you lines that keep the text in a certain area. When you just click and start typing, that just keeps going and going. You have to manually maneuver the text to the next line each time. I'm going to have another tutorial that goes a little more in depth with this tool, And I'll put the link down below in the description. So if you'd like to crop something out, the tool is right over here. It looks like a little box, kind of. You can hit C on the keyboard. And if you click on that, up at the top you'll see you can pick a ratio, resolution. These ratios here, the 5:7, these are good for pictures if you're doing photos. My personal favorite choice when I'm using the crop tool is to take my rectangular marquee tool, which is actually M, and draw what it is I'd like to crop. So say I wanted to crop this a little bit smaller. I can select it with my rectangular marquee and hit my crop tool, and it will automatically crop to that section that I have picked. And then I can just hit enter and enter again, and it will crop for me. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every Thursday at 9 a.m. Central. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.